Evening.
Good evening.
Evening.
Back in a minute.
My push to talk, guys, just connection's not great, so that's just why.
Craig, is that you in the pen?
Nah, it is, but I'm only in the team car. We've got 6 riding anyway, so I've got Zwift Power open, and I'll try and give you any info if I can. But I think you know the score. You just got to give it a go on all the sprints and just try and make sure you stick with the group as long as possible. So I think the best tip I can give as well is, like, forget how many laps there are. Just treat every sprint like it's the last one, and then just go as many times as you can.
Even if you have to drop back loads and recover?
Well, you got to make the call as to if it's going to destroy you. But I think ultimately, the longer you can hang on, the higher finish position you'll get. And you'll see on the first sprint how brutal it is. The first one's going to be the worst because everyone's fresh. So do what you can. I think key things are just remember the slope. It never gets steep. So just kind of time your effort, but it carries on slightly after the sprint finish. It's still at 1%. So what it means is you've still got a chance to get back if people in front of you ease, but you've really got to make the most of it. And if you are struggling, make it a longer sprint. So start earlier and then push through. And ultimately, if there's somebody on front of you, you've got draft.
Unless they pop a burrito.
Yeah, let's hope not.
Basically, you have to sprint every lap regardless, because the pack speed will be so high that will be stretched out. It's going to be, I think it's a 90-second effort. It's all uphill for like a kilometer or two before the sprint even starts. So it's there's no resting or anything. Just sitting in the back doesn't make sense, because you just have to stay focused, stay in the front, and keep sprinting, because there will be gaps. I think there's been 7 or 8 races, and I have like the biggest peloton sprint I've seen was like 2/3 of the pack, but there were multiple occasions where there was only a small group left because it was such a hard race.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be exactly like Florian says, you just got to get amongst it anyway. So give it a good blast, and then I'll try and have info for you on groups behind and things like that. So yeah, you know, when you get a first time round, just go for it.
There's definitely no saving, but I'm also not going for a full sprint on the intermediates, because this day today I'm going to focus for the finish. See if I can sprint there.
I'm going to focus on every sprint where I have an arrow, and I'm going to go really early to prevent from getting behind a burrito. So
I checked the timing of James Young, who's currently riding, and he wasn't first with the fastest through segment, but he had 9:42, 9:42, 9:45. So it's going to be really fast.
Yeah, James, he didn't race with us last season, but he raced the season before, and he pretty much dominated the league. But I think there's a lot of faster people than James now, so standard's super high. But he's a good barometer. And yeah, I think the key thing on that slope is judging where you put your effort, and what you need to do is be trying to get yourself to the front to give you the most kind of dropping room, but not going too early that you then kind of make it too hard for yourself. So that's the trickiest bit. So each lap, just try and tweak that.
if you do want to sprint, I suggest you go either really early or really late. If you go really late, then the burritos will be off, so you get some more draft and you can get a faster through segment. If you want to go for FAL, you should go really early, because then you can get some momentum sitting in the draft. There's a small flat bit, just about 300
you got
to
30
350.
seconds as well.
Oh, my bad. There's a small flat bit about 300 meters in front, so get some momentum there and work your way up to the front. All right, let's have fun, boys.
Go on then, have a blast. Just go for it and enjoy yourselves.
Have fun, guys.
Good luck.
So now's the time when you can recover when it's flat or on that downhill slope. See Fabian's doing. So yeah, plenty of guys to watch out for in the sprint. So just don't worry about anybody else. You just do your thing and really just focus on how you ride in relation to the rest of the bunch. Obviously, yeah, all the focus is on that intermediate sprint, but just remember there's the dip through the underpass as well. It's unlikely to go crazy, and I've never seen anything get away after there, but some people might try it. There's an Italian, Tonon, who's kind of famous for his long range attack, so he might attack. So just be vigilant in case the pace picks up to chase anybody.
That might already start here at this straight section we just finished.
Yeah, you swing and left it, and then you drop into the underpass now. Okay, nobody's going really crazy out there. Most people kicked it up a bit just to make sure, but it's pretty safe. So you're going to run down now to the sort of slight S bend into the Champs-Elysees. I think the key thing here is don't start pushing too early, but also just be mindful of your position. I think as you come around that S bend before the finish, if you're planning to be near the front of the pack, start to move up so you're not having to make a huge effort. And remembering you'll pick up a power up through the finish line.
Great having you in the team car, Greg.
I'll try not to just ramble on, but I'll just try and chip in with just a few key reminders because you guys are going to have to work hard. So I'll try and do as much thinking as I can, so you don't have to.
Make sure I don't stop paddling.
Yeah, you got to push through the finish line around the Arc de Triomphe as well. So crucial one. Okay, all seems. I'm jumping through the bunch a bit, and it all seems pretty calm. So that means that when it really kicks off, it's going to kick off. So just be mindful of your positioning, but just making sure that you're not pushing into the red too early. I'll give you a little prompt on the gradient as well. Still 0%, so you've not kicked up. And it's actually slightly downhill here. It's -1.
This is the time to start moving up.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now it's starting to rise up a little. We're up at 1%, and you can see up ahead the kind of the top of the drag. Okay, up to 2%. Now 3%. So if you're going to make it a long sprint, just position yourself forward. You can just be putting a bit more pressure on now just to move forwards. Okay, lots of steamrollers getting dropped now. And it's getting very fragmented. Okay, time to play your cards. Whatever you've got, you need to be pushing now. It's proper lined out as well. So key thing is just be pushing, push through. Any gaps in front, try and get them closed. And I'll try and keep attention on who's where, so to see what how the splits work out and if there's groups behind. Okay, looks like there's a slight split after the top 10, but there's plenty of people in the mix. So just look around you, just make sure you've got other people to group with. Okay, so it seems pretty intact. So, oh no, there is a split, and there's a group of about 8, I think, that are distanced. But if you're in the line, just try and hold position and hold that wheel in front. Yeah, it's a 1 second gap after about position 55. But there's plenty of people. I see Rick's just, now's your moment, Rick, if you're going to push and just close that up. That's it. Good close, Rick. So you've got it. Okay, nice work, guys. So I can see Florian, Rick, and Jack in the front, just checking where everyone else is. Okay, spotted you. So if you just stick with that group. So name of the game now is just you. I think you got 5 or 6 with you. So work with them, but just make sure that when you get to the finish, you can beat them. Actually, no, it's 4 of you, I think. There's actually more coming up behind. So I think if I was you, I'd just let the group behind catch. There's only a couple of guys, and it'll just make for an easier ride for you. There's 4 behind, so that'll make a group of 8 of you. So get that together. Loads of the Rhino guys with you, so they can do the lion's share of the work. You just be smart on how you use your effort. So just stick with that group. Nobody should be sprinting on the next lap because there's no point. So really, it's about that 8 just getting around as efficiently as they can.
Just a heads up, I feel like shit. I don't think I will be able to get some points in the intermediate.
Hey, you're not alone,
Don't
mate.
worry.
You're not alone.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I think judging on the speed of that one, like don't just about goal is just hang with that front group as long as possible. So if that means it's 99% of your sprint, just to hang with the group rather than going 100%.
Managed to bridge back.
Nice work, Max.
Got some sticky mics, guys. If you have a steamroller, I think you should use it before the finish line, or I think an arrow.
Yeah, just before. Just before.
Yeah, you're on the cobbles, aren't you, in the sprint segment? So I think one thing, just reflect on how that went and where the danger spots were, and then just think about your positioning before you get to the sprint again, so that you're not in the same danger spot next time. And just as a reassurance, I know that was a proper tough one, and I remember from when this race ran last time, the first one was by far and away the worst, and then each lap kind of got a little bit easier, but obviously the fatigue told. So again, just be mindful of that. Just hang in there. You know, just treat everyone like it's the last sprint, and then worry about the others later. All right, it's all, you know, literally one effort at a time, and then just go as far as you can. Again, all looks pretty stable. Most people seem to be recovering. Nice compact group. I think we're just going to see the same pattern each lap. So, you know, very much is get as much recovery as you can in this part, and especially if you've had to chase back. I think if you've had to chase back, you're going to need to just smooth the effort out of it. So make it a longer, like hard effort rather than a sort of super short, super hard sprint.
How are you feeling now, Florian?
Not great.
Yeah, just remember, just do what you can. Remember, everyone else is going to be feeling bad too. So
Yeah, I'm willing to trade.
okay, coming into crunch time again. So you got that little short -1% downhill. Now it's flattening off, and then it's going to just do that gradual kick again. So just look out for your landmarks and just remember where you put the effort in last time and just adapt it. If you need to go a little bit later, or if you want to go earlier to try and move up and give a bit more sliding room, you just make those calls depending on how you're feeling and what you learned from last time. Okay, the bunch is a lot more compact than it was last lap, so should be getting more draft as well. It's a lot less strung out in the approach, but the hitters are starting to kick now, so Now's the time to ramp up. It's the 3% part. So give it what you've got right here.
Push, Rick. Don't drop now. Come on, buddy.
Go on, all in. Just that last few more seconds effort. That's it. You're very close to each other. So look around, look at who's nearby. Just remember how the groups work. More of you, the better. And it's really eased off at the front. So a lot of people are recovering. The snake's still intact from what I can see on the mini map. Oh no, there's a split. So Rick, looks like you're just that wrong side of the split. So do what you can. Just look around with those other guys, see if anybody's pushing.
Remember you used the burrito, Florian.
Sorry.
Bummer that you used that burrito.
Yeah, I thought it was behind you on my screen. My bad, I guess.
Don't worry, right? We'll just do what you can now. So Rick, I think that's 10 seconds now, Rick. So don't push. You just settle in with that group. Let them do the work for you now. The other group's about 30 seconds behind, including Hugh. So either just cruise, let those guys catch you. There are 8 of them, so it's a bigger group. Or just see how it plays. Oh, yeah, one of Rick's companions dropped the burrito now. That's really helpful. Well done there. Not.
Fuck's sake, I swear I was behind you.
Yeah, don't worry.
It was, and then you started sprinting.
Yeah, there's other people as well doing. So don't worry. It's very tough. Didn't seem to get as strung out that lap, but it. I couldn't see everybody. I was jumping between riders, so yeah.
Definitely easier, but it's just that friction, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing. You've just now, but now the good thing is what's happened. The pure sprinters are probably losing a bit of their pop, or they're being a bit more selective. So I think actually the fastest through was slightly faster on that lap. So if it actually felt easier despite being faster, that's not a bad sign at all. So now again, you've got 2 of those under your belts. So I think the key thing now is even though you're getting more tired with the fatigue, you're learning more about where to apply the pressure. And even though it's a relatively short effort, a few seconds either way is going to make a massive difference now. So just use that experience each time, just refine what you're doing. You know, get a bit further forward if that's helping before the sprint properly kicks off. You know, or save it and then really go deep for a real short effort.
No hard feelings, Florian. It wasn't intentional.
Thanks, buddy.
Nothing you can do. It could have been somebody else. So you just never know with those, the old burritos. I think I did it to Tom once inadvertently. I was trying to, I think I did a lead out. I thought he'd gone past me, popped the burrito, thinking I was blocking everybody behind, and he was still partly in the draft and got hit by it. So,
to be honest, Tom probably deserved it.
Yeah, true. or it didn't actually affect him anyway, to be honest.
He was planning on being in the wind anyway.
Exactly. Okay, so again, so that bunch still looking intact. Obviously, still 4 guys there. This is really good. So, Rick, you've just got to be smart here and just think about how you want to play it. I mean, if you cruise around with that group, then even the problem is I can't see you getting fastest through kind of points anyway, just because of the speed of the pack. So I don't even think it's worth doing that. So I think now the goal is win your group. So whoever you're with, You know, and I think even if that group comes up from behind and catches you and Hugh work together, you're still going to be in a position to kind of win out of that particular group. And obviously, if you're in the main bunch now, just make sure you're maximizing that recovery. I think after you've done a couple of sprints, you don't need an invitation to do that, but obviously everything counts now. All those few percent each lap's really going to add up. So just the more recovery you can get, just make sure you're not pushing unnecessarily. Look around the guys around you on the rider list, what's they're pushing, and just make sure you're not inadvertently pushing harder and just draining yourself. Interesting, a little bit of activity going off the front here, but just stick where you are, because I can't see it succeeding. It may just be people chancing their arm or even just worried about the sprint. It's Messerschmitt from Wahoo LEQP was one of them, and a couple of others. They've gone pretty hard, so I think it's a risky strategy. It looks like there's actually 4 off the front, but one of them's dropping back to the bunch very quickly. So the main thing just to watch out for here is if the bunch gets twitchy and lights it up earlier than they did last lap. Again, I think hold your position and just be aware of what's happening.
I have an arrow. Thoughts on trying to go for a second?
I think you just got to make the call on how you're feeling. So I think I certainly think fastest through is going to be a done and dusted. But if you fancy positioning near the front and you give it a go, and you're either in a good position to grab some points if you can, if you're feeling good, really good, and if not, then you're just putting yourself in a better position with more sliding room, and you can just back it off but still be with the group. So make the call, but whatever you do, just don't destroy yourself. And so, key thing here, grab some points if you can. Although actually that group's holding, so there's actually looks like somebody else has got across. There's 5 people. They're all pushing pretty hard, 6-7 watts a kilogram. So they're obviously trying to mop up some points here from the first FAL. So I think Florian, hold that power up and use it kind of to stick with the group. But I think the gap's 8 seconds now, 8-9 seconds. So I think there's a chance they're not going to get pulled back before the sprint. So don't dig yourself too deep unnecessarily. Okay, sprint's opening up behind them now, but they're still holding 7-second gap, so it's coming down pretty quickly now. But I think they're still they'll safely get over the line. Yeah, down to 4 seconds. I think main thing everyone just be aware of, the guys at the front have got that group in their sights. They're not going to catch them, but they're going to stretch the bunch out. So just watch out for gaps even more so than previous laps. Yeah, a little breakaway made it stick. And bunch is looking very fragmented, so just be aware of any gaps in front of you and others around you. So just keep an eye on it. It looks like it's getting stuck back together, but there's definitely a few more gaps in there than I've seen on the previous laps. Although it's shut right down at the front. I think because those guys did the breakaway and then it was a hard chase, they're definitely not pushing over the top. So if you've got a gap and you've got a bit left in the tank, push now because it's definitely closable. So try and patch up any gaps before you make the turn and drop downhill again. Still looking very strong out actually, but it's really eased off at the front. So looks like Jack took caught on the wrong side of that gap. So Jack, just look behind you. There's another guy, I think it's Marek, who's a really strong guy from Wahoo Lacole. So let him come to you and then work with him. Just see if he's making any progress.
Is Max still in the front group?
Looks like it, yeah.
I've just gone off the back. Sorry, Jack.
Yeah, okay. So Max, you're 5 seconds in front of Jack. There's 3 riders between you, I think, or close to you. Let's try and stick with them.
Sorry, boys. It's so hard to get on that.
Don't worry. No, never any apologies needed. These are brutal, these events, and very much it really suits the sprinters. So it's just trying to work out how to kind of play in that game if you're not a pure sprinter.
Craig, I think I have 1 arrow. So what do you reckon? I gotta go for 1 sprint, or I go for the final sprint?
Well, you got a couple of options. I think you've just got to call it, because remember we've still got what was that? That was the 3rd, so still 4 sprints to go. I think if your position is good and you feel good, then go for it, because every lap the group's getting a little bit smaller and people are less keen to sprint. They're more about survival. And when we did this race last time, it's one of the only sprint stages I've ever scored points in, and it's because I went on.
Hang on.
I went
my
on the
connection is
penultimate.
disconnected. Do you guys hear me?
I have the same problem.
Yeah, I can still hear you both.
Where am I in the group? Can you see me?
You were right near the front. I'm just looking at position now, 9, and you were just in front of that. I have to plug in.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah. It's all looking good.
Sorry, Craig. What were you saying?
No, we're good. Yeah, you've just got to make the call. You still got 4 sprints to go, remember. But if you are, the easiest sprint to score intermediate points is the last one before you go, as you start the last lap, basically. Even it's one of my rare point scoring efforts in a race like this, just because a lot of people will be saving it for the finish.
I reckon I go for this one, then I save up a bit, and then decide whether to go for the penultimate or the final lap.
Sounds good. You've got enough in your legs now to know what the impact is. The big impact's done now, so it's more about you're just going to lose a fraction each lap now. So yeah, go for it. I'll call it as if there's another breakaway attempt, I'll let you know so you don't waste the effort. But yes, definitely, if you're going to go for it, and this lap's a good one to do so, and then just watch out for, start thinking about your position early so you're really minimizing the effort moving forwards.
These gaps open up so fast.
Max, are you in that group now?
Yeah, I'm with you, Jack.
Okay, nice work, Max. Yeah, with a big bunch and on the really fast bits, on that downhill section as well, where you were, like a big group just rolls away from 1 or 2 riders so quickly. So nothing you can do in that situation. So smart decisions, team up. And the key thing now is in fact, I'll keep an eye on the gap, and I doubt it'll be closable. So just work with those other guys, but don't work too hard. So the goal now becomes finish as high in the group you're in. Yeah, it looks like you got the four of you, and it looks like it's two of the Wahoo LeCole guys as well, and they're both pretty strong riders. So I think Marek is one of them, and John. So they're both pretty good guys, and I've raced against them, and I know Marek in particular is really strong. So they're obviously not super sprinters. So really, the goal here is ride around with them. There's a guy about 9 seconds back, but doesn't look like he's pushing at all now. So he's done. You've got his gap to the bunch is now 23 seconds. So there's no advantage to you pushing harder than the Wahoo LeCole guys. The main thing is you really just got to think about when you get to the finish, can you beat them? That's the goal. So just make sure you're not working too hard in that group of four.
Kicking off on the front.
Yeah, it's definitely getting stretched out. Let's see what they're doing. I think this is like an early play for it. Yeah, so you've got a few guys have all dropped the arrows and they're just trying to string it out. They're going pretty hard, but not with the same sort of intensity the last attack went with. I have a feeling, no, it's coming back to them now. Haven't really eased off, but I think the group is just close in attendance. So I think, again, just be I think Florian sprint anyway, just because this is going to be one the way I think you're going to have to just to maintain position in the group. A couple of small gaps just within the peloton as it's got strung out. So just watch for that and just pick your moments. Can't quite see the positions, but you're right up there, Florian. So nice riding. I think you must have got 10th, top 10, because I was looking at the guy behind you in 10th position. So I think you bagged 9th in that one.
Well done.
Yeah, really good work. Sorry, I've lost George throughout this, but I've managed to find him. So all good, George.
Don't say anything.
No. You just do your thing. It's fine. Just get to the finish. It's all points. And the thing is, it's going to be, if you're not 100%, these efforts are going to be absolutely insanely brutal. So you just do your thing. Yeah, Zwift doesn't make it easy navigating within the group because you just got to click on random riders in the rider list and try and move around, and it's lit because the bunch is just so dynamic. You click on somebody who you think isn't moving you forward in the bunch, and then they get swamped and they're at the back. So it's a bit tricky, but it's a lot easier sat here than it is doing what you're doing. So you just keep pushing, recover when you can, just be mindful of where you're putting the effort in.
Come on, Joe.
Okay, so was that fourth sprint, I think, wasn't it? So 3 to go. Yeah, I think these are strange races, really, because we're in the pattern now, and that's just going to repeat itself. So yeah, it's been interesting to see a few people try and mix it up. But I think what I learned from that last lap as well is people tried that attack, but maybe their legs are a bit blunted because it's much later in the race now. So it's going to be really difficult to kind of force a break.
It's really hard when there's a group in the front, because then it's not just a 30-second sprint, it becomes a 2-minute effort because people want to get the group back before the segment. So
Yeah,
that nearly killed me. I think I shouldn't have sprinted because my positioning was so far off. But hey, we move.
yeah, it was good effort, Florian.
Yeah,
So
just hang in there, Florian, Eric, and Jack, and Phil, Max, keep going.
yeah, you're doing good, and just being smart. Remember, we're not robots, so you just got to listen and just adapt a little bit. So, Florian, definitely make sure you're thinking about recovery, and next time through, try and use your positioning so you're not having to put out quite the same power or the same duration of effort, because you're going to need to kind of make the most of it, recovering on the next 2 laps, and then see how you feel and see how you bounce back.
It's tempting because I have another arrow, but I think I'll just use it. But not
Yeah,
sprint.
no, I think definitely too much. You'll definitely kind of if you go for it this time, it'll be too much. You'll ruin the rest of your race. So use the aero to make it a bit easier. All right. So again, just think about the timing of it. And obviously, it's a short power up, but you can use it at the right time just to kind of make that difference and make sure that you're on a wheel after the sprint and you've got an easier time of it. And then obviously, guys, Max and Jack and Rick and Hugh, just be smart with how you're working with those other guys. Obviously, the faster you go, the sooner the race is done.
I've dropped back, mate.
Have you? Okay, cool. Good work. Yeah, cool. So Max and Jack's group's still moving pretty quick, and you've only lost 35 seconds to the front group. But just be careful you don't do too much. That's the main thing. You're coming out of the tunnel anyway, so you're gonna have to push a little bit. But key thing is just make sure you're doing less than the guys you're with.
There's a 12-man group like a minute behind them, and we didn't gain that much. At most a few seconds in the last lap.
Yeah, it looks like that gap's holding around a minute. So just, I suppose the flip side is what you could, from Max and Jack's perspective, the closer you get to the finish, then maybe don't be so cagey, because then it might be better just to hold that group off and not even be sprinting with the chasers. So then it could be to your advantage, even if you let the Wahoo Coal guys take the 2 spots over you if they've sat on. But I think also if you work with them, that's not going to harm you. So yeah, we'll check in on the next lap and just see how that gap's looking.
I'm about to get left.
You do a lead out for me, George.
Yeah, George, could you get ahead and get up to the sprint?
I'm kidding, mate. I'm kidding.
I'm willing to do anything.
It's 10 seconds. We gain 10 seconds on you, Max.
Actually, yeah, thanks, Rick. Actually, you can call the gap to them better. So, yeah, that's okay. Just keep an eye on it, and then
It's
things
55 seconds now. 55.
okay. Yeah, I think based on that, perhaps Max and Jack start just pushing a little bit harder if you've got it in you. So don't sit on too much. Try and sort of maintain that. Not if you lose 10 seconds a lap, that's absolutely fine. But just try and keep it to that and keep an eye on it.
Yeah, got it.
Okay. So sprints engaging now. So Florian, just you again, watch your positioning. I can't find you on the list, so I'm going to try and jump around and do so. But again, just be smart and look after yourself. Don't worry about the points on this one. Save that for another lap. The most important thing is just sticking with that group. Okay, somebody's struck out alone or sort of off the front, but they're not really got a gap. Second at the best. And it only doesn't look like it's only the real front guys who are really going.
Hello, Florian.
Yeah, you're going to see George as well in a moment. Okay, group looks stretched. But nobody's doing more than 10 watts a kilogram in the sprint. I can see Florian. It says new PR for Florian, and he's right at the front. So good position in there. Again, just maximize that recovery now. So there's a few coming up over behind you as well, so that's going to help. Actually, there might be some splits behind as well, so it's a really good job on the positioning. I can see at least a split just behind you and two others in the group. So it might all come back together because people are so tired, they'll just ease up and it'll merge. But I think you might find yourself, you're around 28th now. I think from about 30th back, there's at least a second group. I bet you'll see it on the rider list. But yeah, so just little dig now, just make sure you're part of that. That's it, nicely done. Okay, I think there's a couple are going to get back on and everyone else is done. So really nice job there, Florian. 5 seconds now to the guys behind. So the good news is each time now with a smaller group, it means you've got less draft, but ultimately you've got less people going for it. So you've just got to be really smart about picking wheels now.
Our gap's coming down quite quick.
Fatigue is really kicking in. I mean, you said nobody's pushing over 10 watts a kilo, but I can tell you that one really hurt.
Yeah. Well, they'll get longer, flatter, sprint. So 30 seconds at 9 watts a kilogram is still a hell of an effort, especially when you've already got 4 of them in your legs. So no, absolutely. Don't worry.
Positioning is getting easier though, but yeah, nobody has that punch anymore.
No, that's good. Also, just remember from this time, there were definitely more splits. So you just be mindful of that, mindful of where you put your effort in, and maybe even in the actual sprint, you're at 95%. So it gives you that 5% to play with when there's a gap to close, or or somebody in front of you lets the wheel go. So just think about that. You did it beautifully last lap. So same again each lap, and again just maximize that recovery. There is actually the group coming back is quite sizable, and I think they are closing, so there is a fair chance they'll catch. But obviously they're going to be hitting the sprint with a lot less recovery than you guys are, so that still kind of plays well for you. I'm just going to jump and just check on progress with Max and Jack and Rick. How's that gap looking, Rick? Okay, so gap behind Max and Jack's group is now about 49 seconds. So they're closing, but it's not huge. So I think you've just here use on the downhill especially. Don't go crazy. Just make the most of their recovery. The group will take most time from you on the downhill just because they've got strength in numbers. But I think then if you work on the basis that once you get onto the flat again, you start to pick it up, and then you do a real strong effort on the uphill section of the course, then you should be able to hold them off. I think what we'll then do is if we get kind of within a lap and it looks almost certain they're going to catch you, then we'll have a think about maybe playing it differently. But definitely keep working. If you keep working as well, it'll incentivize the Wahoo Cole guys to work with you. So, and is that somebody else just behind one of the Kirchmere guys in black and yellow? Has he come across, or have you picked him up? I'm not sure. But anyway, more.
Just picked him up, yeah.
Yeah, but more numbers is good. So keep him in the group because 5 of you is better than 4. And the guys behind you are playing a bit of mind games. They're saying, "Oh yeah, let's keep going, and we'll catch the ones in front." So yeah, we'll see. Or just let the clock do the speaking on that. And to be fair as well, you guys are doing a really good job because the gap to the group ahead of Max and Jack is still only just over 30 seconds, 32 seconds now. So you're not really losing that much. I think that's because the group really eases afterwards and you're kind of keeping working. So yeah, just play smart here, and a bit more effort than before. Just there's a mind game here with the group in that you don't want to make it look like it's going to be too easy to close. So make them think, and it's going to be too much of an effort, or that's going to hurt them when it comes to their sprint at the end. So just play smart with it. Gap to 43 seconds, but I'd expect that because that's on that downhill section. Now's the part where you can really stabilize it and perhaps even take some time back. But yeah, I see in the chat, there's plenty of people worrying about 50, saying that racing for 52nd position. But hey, everyone's in the same one. It's all a race wherever you finish him. It's a fair few just lone riders now in between groups who've just blown. So it's proper tough race. But you're getting through it. Not long to go now. Only a few more efforts. And if you just think, so certainly Florian, just think about this. You've done most of the efforts now. Just a few more to do.
If I start talking Mexican in a bit, it's because I ate too many burritos. Oh my lord.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll speak a bit of Mexican. It'll be fine. I think this is the problem when they dish them out as well. People just use them to get rid of them, and it's
yeah, it's almost better to stay in the front because they're using it in the middle of the pack.
Hola, tequila.
At least if they've used it before the sprint, it means you're not at your maximum when you've got to try and overcome it. So looking on the bright sides. Okay, so under the arch. Few people, I've seen a few steamrollers getting popped already, so they're people screaming out that they're at their limit already. Yeah, I'm going to keep quiet on this one, Florian. Do what you did last time. Think about that positioning. It was absolutely perfect. So going to be very, very similar.
George, we're coming up behind you if you want to grab on.
I'll try, but those watts are big.
Yeah, just remember, George, even if you just sit at the back of the group, you'll make the group go faster. But do what you can. Don't destroy yourself. So But even if you can just jump in on that section and just help them for a, even just for a few minutes, it'll make a difference. Okay, nice work, Florian. It's kicking now, so yeah, good effort. So it's just stretching, opening up in front of you. So if you've got a little bit more, now's the time.
I'm done.
No, awesome effort. There's no hiding when it's not there. So awesome job on all those other efforts. So you just knock it down and just manage that now. There's a few people behind you as well. You've just got trailed off on the run-in. So
I can't.
no. Just watch for the guys coming up behind. So just push over the top, and then you can just recover with them. It was a cracking effort. You got 4 people behind you, so there's people to ride to the finish with. That's it. Nice job, Florian. Just sit on those wheels now, just on the downhill. Get as much recovery as you can. Job done now. Just get to the finish. It's not too much further to go. Yeah, nice job, George. Just hang with that group if you can. So that gap that's now around 38 seconds. So, but it looks like that's getting a bit split up. So the times between all those guys are varying from 38 through to sort of 40 odd seconds. So obviously that's good. If they're a bit more disjointed, that's going to hold them off.
It's brutal here.
Are they pushing you with that group, Rick? Can you see? Is it getting a bit fragmented?
Yeah, 2 are in front. Rest is pushing.
I see Collard and the Electric Spirit guy are pushing on. Thing is, that's fine. So from Jack and Max, if they bridge to you, that's fine. That's just 2 guys. So you just keep doing what you're doing and kind of managing that.
We're catching him.
Is that me you're catching? Or?
No, you're all good, Florian. This is the group behind Max and Jack's group. So race status at the moment, you've got the front group. Florian's just with a quartet just behind. Then you've got another sort of reasonably sizable group, about 30 seconds ish behind Florian. And then there's another group.
They're catching up to us.
That's fine. It's a decent group, so you just slot in with those guys and it'll give you more draft. Okay, so more recovery. That's not a bad thing at all. And then the group, Max and Jack's group is just behind. They're then, I think, around 30 seconds behind that group that's chasing Florian. And then Rick's group is the group just around 38, 40 seconds behind Max and Jack's group. So again, it's going to get a bit tactical now here. So you've just got to think about whether you contribute to the group or not. So Rick, no point in contributing. You just hang in that group and minimize the effort you're putting in. Max
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Max and Jack keep working, and obviously George, do what you can, but you just being there is making that group go faster. Yeah, so that gap now is extended. So Max and Jack are now 48 seconds ahead of the Rick group.
When's best to use the steamroller, Rick?
On the cobbles and probably on the climb. Just it's going to smooth it out, make it a lot easier.
Yeah, okay, nice.
The only thing is you'll pick up another power up, hopefully, when you go under the finish arch. So you could just pop it before you hit the finish, and then that will help you on that section, and then you'll have a new power up to take you up to the sprint as well.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I've been lucky with arrows, to be fair.
Well, just use them. And even then, I wouldn't even worry so much about saving something for the finish in this case, with a small group like that. Your biggest advantage now is just keeping distance between you and that big group chasing. So whatever you can use to help with that goal, that's a win. And it's much better if you and Max finish third and fourth in that group of 4. That's better than getting caught by the group behind. So don't be afraid to work. Do what you can, and we'll just sort of keep an eye on what's happening with the group chasing. Don't know, Rick can probably tell us better, but it looks like they've really knocked it off now. I know it's on the downhill,
Yeah, it's
but
53 seconds again.
Okay, and I'm seeing lots of really low numbers, so it looks like they're really chilling. So, which is good because that's where they have the advantage over the smaller group ahead. So, definitely the ball's back in Max and Jack's court in terms of holding off, because there's not much more to do. You get round to the finish, it's 1 lap to go. All right, so great job, guys.
Keep pushing though, because I have the feeling it's going to explode on the final incline in this group.
Yeah, that's a good point, Rick. So, yeah, definitely. So, I mean, Max and Jack are doing a long 2-up time trial, or hopefully a team time trial if you can get those Wahoo Cole guys to work. And obviously, George, help but don't destroy yourself. So you sticking with that group as long as possible is more value than you doing any big turns and blowing yourself up. So just be smart with it. Okay, Florian's group's looking good as well. The group behind you, Florian, is now 56 seconds behind. So again, you can afford just to, cruise as much as you can, stick with this. People might go for it on the sprint. I can't see why, but sometimes people just don't think very smartly. But they might try and break it up and solo away. So most important thing for you is just to make sure you have a bigger number of people to ride with than if people try and break away. Yeah, and there's some decent riders in your group, Florian. So Dan Loveday and Simon Rima from the Italian, they're all kind of people I've rode with in kind of chase groups before, and will be prepared to work, not necessarily sprinters. So, people might try it, but there's plenty of people who are just going to, try and ride smart to the finish.
$50 seconds.
Actually, Florian's group looks like you've extended that to 1:05. So you got less than a lap to go now. So that's looking pretty safe. So just play it smart now that you can afford to gamble and don't work. Just watch these guys, and if you've got anything for the finish, you can just worry about trying to tuck as many up as you can. Yeah, Max and Jack, 53 seconds it's saying now, timing. So there might be attacks from that group on the climb, but you're doing a great job. You just keep doing what you're doing. And George as well. It's a cracking effort there. I think, to be fair, it's one of the great things about this whole team-based league is whatever sort of night you're having, you can still contribute. So awesome effort, George. Really, really, really good bounce back as well. So, you know, just you hang with that group and do as much as you can for Max and Jack. Interestingly as well, just to dangle a bit more of a carrot in front of the Max and Jack and George group, there's the next group's 17 seconds ahead. So you're gaining quite considerably on them. They were hovering 30 to 35 seconds. So you're taking time out of them. Not sure why. They might be just being big cagey, might be the lay of the course, but you're definitely closing. So just be mindful of that. If you can catch them, even better. Just use them as an incentive, you know, to just help you with your chase and to keep the others at bay. And actually, sorry, Florian, I was giving you duff information. The people I was talking about as kind of good people to ride with, they're in that group just in front of Max and Jack, not riding with you. So you've got 50 seconds on that group. So don't know many of the guys in that. Henry Stewart's, you know, I know him a bit. So again, you've got pretty safe margin now. Can't see that other group coming back. So you just be smart and just make sure you're kind of following wheels as much as possible. I know you've got plenty of efforts in your legs already, but I'd still put money on you over most of these guys in this finish. Yeah, likewise, Rick, how are you feeling?
Good.
Awesome. So your job, just win that group. All right. So you've had the perfect excuse to sit on. You've got teammates ahead. So very much, you know, and I know you've done plenty of races on this circuit, so you know how to time it. I think the main thing to be mindful of is the group's not huge, so just factor that in terms of your timing and where you launch your sprint. Yeah, Florian, you've done plenty of races on this course, I guess. I think the key is just not to go too early, and especially with a smaller group.
I don't want to be behind burritos, however.
No, very true. Somebody at the front of your group just popped a burrito. Seems a very strange place to play it. You're not getting anything else at this stage, are you? So, and nobody's lighting it up either.
Yeah, there's some people playing games. I'm just sitting back. I don't care.
Just let it play out now. So this isn't the key part. You know the key part. So just getting that approach into the Champs-Elysees is the key thing, and just timing that effort. So yeah, Florian, you're looking super safe now. Gap's still minute 3 to the group behind. Sure, you can see it on the rider list anyway. And none of those guys are really pushing. So it's all about just you versus that group. So just play your cards as best you can. Okay, likewise, Max, Georgian, and Jack looking really good. So 55 seconds, well, maybe 49 to somebody is looking to try and bridge from that group. but there's no way they're closing that time on you before the finish. So I think keep a bit of tempo just so they don't get near, but you can just afford now to think about. Looks like I've only just jumped on the group, but it looks like one of the Wahoo LeCole guys is determinedly at the back. Don't know how you guys are feeling. If you're feeling like you've just kind of spent all your energy anyway, just do what you can in the finish. But equally, you could have a bit of fun. I'd be very surprised. Just watch out for maybe an attack from one of the Wahoo LeCole guys as they come out of the underpass. And from all the people I know who do ride for them, they are really good on the team tactics. They'll have somebody kind of looking at how it's playing out, so they'll have a plan on what they're going to do. And I doubt, with in this scenario, it'd be worth having a go.
What's the gap behind me, Craig?
Hang on a minute, I'll check.
Plenty.
Right, Rick's already there. He's got it.
Yeah, it's plenty.
Yeah, you'll find you. Nothing to worry about.
I'm pretending I'm in the front group, going for a real sprint here.
Rick, all the points count. It's a real sprint. Doesn't matter what group you're in. They're all just as important. It's all about beat the people around you. And just remember as well, it's always good experience. Just, still putting an effort in at the end of a tough race. It's easy just to go out. It doesn't matter. But, it serves you well then when you've had a really
Jack, next. I'm on the first row now, so better show me some ass.
So yeah, top job. Really, really good effort. No, I'm not, because I've now finished the race, it seems. So I can't find you guys now. Hang on, let's find. No, sorry guys, you're on your own. So just play smart.
Oh, I even forgot about my arrow.
You didn't need it.
I think the time was impeccable.
Yeah, the guys who went too early were just done, weren't they? And you just timed it well. The guy behind you looked like he was putting an effort in, but he just got nowhere near to your wheel, and you were gone.
It's such a struggle when
Go, guys! Go for it! That's it, just smashing it. Go on! Go on, Jack!
Nice job, guys. I managed to get back in, so I'm watching Rick. So Rick's through next.